Hello and welcome to Business Today Television. I'm Siddharth Zarabi from the India Today Business Today studio here at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and it gives me great pleasure to invite and welcome on the show one of the foremost names in the world of investment globally, Ray Dalio, the founder of the world's largest hedge fund, Bridgewater Associates. Ray, a very warm welcome. A lot of admirers in India have been waiting for your remarks here, and I'm going to dive straight into the subject by asking you for what you're watching for in 2024.
There are five major forces that each is important, but how they're interacting is most important. And some of them are at a critical points. The first is the debt money dynamics that is existing around the world.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm particularly focusing on the United States now because it's so important in that way. The second is the internal conflict, particularly in the United States, where there are irreconcilable differences. There's populism at both sides and unacceptable, neither side will accept the ways of living, the ways that they want, and maybe even the political output. 24 will be a defining year of whether democracy and how the working together is. This is going to be very, very critical, a big risk. And if either party gets in, you'll have very, very different policies. The third, of course, is the great geopolitical conflict that through time we've seen when a rising power is challenging an existing power. So the rise of China, the tensions that exist, and what that means in terms of conflicts. We have a war in Europe, we have a war in the Middle East, and how that is contained, or whether it's contained, will certainly be important issues. And when you put those two together, the domestic uncertainty and the international uncertainty, we have not seen anything like this in our lifetimes. The fourth influence is this acts of nature throughout history. I studied the last 500 years of history. And you can see that droughts, floods, and pandemics have been the greatest influence on the well-being of people. And so in one way or another, we have climate change, not just the implications of the climate, but the cost, the actual amount of money. It's estimated between $5 and $10 trillion a year, and how that's 5 to 10% of world GDP, and that expense. And number 5 has always been, but now more than ever, technology. Okay, man's inventiveness of all through history and the inventiveness of technology have been a force, but now we have a whole new type of technology that is going to have big implications. So the interactions in those five, the big risks are the second and the third, the international, the domestic conflict issue, particularly in the United States more so, and then also the international issue. I should say that also creates an opportunity for other countries. India would be a very good example of that. Because throughout history, then as you have rising powers that also do not get involved in this great conflict, being neutral creates also a great power. So India is very, very interesting at this time, as are some other places, such as the ASEAN countries, in other words, the countries, Asian countries around Singapore and there, and also the Middle Eastern countries, particularly the Gulf countries.
Since you speak about neutrality, I'll pick that point up. So in a way, you were saying the path, the geopolitical path that India has followed under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, including after the Russia-Ukraine conflict broke out, or even with the Hamas attack on Israel, that's what you're referring to in terms of being, smart politics and smart economics eventually.
That's right. Throughout wars, it's very interesting. There are winning countries and there are losing countries. The losing countries, terrible. The winning countries do not do as well as the neutral countries. The neutral countries always do better because there's opportunities. And you see that happening now because you're seeing the movement, for example, of businesses to India as an alternative or sourcing from India. And so there's more of those opportunities. I think just generally speaking, India is at a very special moment for a number of reasons. Particularly because It's not burdened by an excessive amount of debt, and it is now at the takeoff point. There's a point in when the combination of education and economics, enough money so that you can invest in the right things, and the way that it's dealing with technology and in this environment, it strikes me very much similar to India. Strikes me very much similar to where China was when Deng Xiaoping came in roughly 1980. And so, in my opinion, you have a great leader in President Modi, and so I would expect that it's that combination.
That was Ray Dalio, a name that doesn't need too much introduction in the markets across the world, live and exclusive with us here at the India Today Business Today studios at the World Economic Forum in Davos. If you've been, thank you very much for watching.